Yeah. Lights low. Candles glow. Welcome to the freaky side of showbiz. Here we go. On the Horrific Network, this the flagship ride. The Horrific Podcast. Step inside. Icons of the screen. Legends of the stage. Stories from the shadows. Breaking out the cage. It's the Horrific Podcast. Where the monsters talk back. Oh yeah. If you love your fame a little strange and your interviews deranged, it's the Horrific Podcast. Turn it up and haunt that play, where every night's a fright night, every guest can steal your breath away. So grab a seat, grab a mask, grab a friend. The Horrific Podcast is about to begin. Welcome to the Horrific Podcast. Funky sting out.
All right, gang, welcome to another episode of the Horrific Podcast. This one is on a different day. We did the mega crossover event podcast with Let's Wrestle and the Halloween Gory Nights. That was an audio only. Pretty soon on the What's Happening on the Horrific Network channels each week, we have been putting a thing up on Sundays, so you kind of know what to expect. The next one of those, we will have a indicator if you're going to be able to watch, listen, or both. So, like in this case, you can do both. You can either watch me here, you can watch, or you can listen on the podcast channel, or even the interview, our panel that is featured on the Horrific Podcast, that gets published separately, as do like clips and stuff that we're starting to do that more and more. Anyway, man, let's get into what's happening this week. As the month kind of wraps itself up here, let's get into the box office news of the week, or of the month and the weekend. So for the last week's performance, no real surprise. We talked about how much we thoroughly enjoyed Project Hail Mary to anybody who would listen. So that if through 26 week Project Hail Mary annihilates any kind of competition out there, man. Hopper's coming second with roughly 86 million less than Project Hail Mary. Durandar the Revenge is an interesting one as it's moved up here in March. Basra, which you know from old podcasting or Ghost Executioner's cameos and whatnot, really last week really performed well. Number 3, up 253%. Everything else really falling through a range of just being out for a while. Reminders of Him. Ready or Not 2 opened at 4, which is not wonderful. But let's get into what the weekend looked like for this past weekend. And that is a little bit different, but it also sees Project Hail Mary really dominate everything, and then Hopper's even comparisonly so kind of dominates the rest, where Hail Mary and Hopper's both have a falling off of just in the below 30 percentile there. They Will Kill You debuts at number 3, which has kind of got to be a little bit of a disappointment for Warner that they couldn't compete with Hopper's, at least, it's been out for a month. Project Hail Mary, I think, is a little bit more understandable that they did not beat, but the fact that Hopper's still beat it so steadily. Listen, Hopper's and Project Hail Mary definitely are my 1 and 2, not only of the month, But personal favorites of the year so far is how much I enjoyed both of those movies, and that takes us all the way to March. So here's the outlook of March, where Hail Mary still steadily 25 million more than Hoppers overall for the month of March. The thing that's most impressive about that is Hoppers came out 2 weeks roughly ahead of Hail Mary. So, and Hail Mary just skyrocketed. The other thing that's impressive to me is Scream finishes number 3 in the month of March overall, and it came out at the end of February. So that's even more impressive. Reminders of Him, 4, Goat, that's also pretty impressive at 5. Durandar the Revenge, just talked about that. That's a pretty new movie as well. Came out same weekend as Project Hail Mary, international Bollywood movie, and it sits at 6 for the month. 7 is Undertone. We enjoyed that one. Ready or Not 2 is at 8. That's pretty new, but it's still not doing that great. Wuthering Heights, 9. That came out a long time ago, Valentine's weekend, and it still made the top 10 for March. And The Bride, which came out the very beginning of March, holds on to the 10 spot. Crime 101, which has been around for a while, number 11.
Turn it sideways.
And it goes on and on. Dude, Avatar still top 20 movie is crazy. Zootopia still top 20 movie. And that has been around since November. And it's still a top 20 movie. It's not going away. Comparisonly, Solo Mio, that Kevin James movie, came out beginning of February. It didn't make the top 20 of March. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys, man. Disney just shitting on the competition money-wise, as they usually do. A little bit of news, interesting enough. The interesting thing that we came across this week is that Kevin Williamson, who, dude, has had a fair amount of attention on him with Screen 7 and the success or controversy, however you want to play that, you can. But he has been attached to writing like a Vampire's Diaries style Dark Universe thing. I've heard that it was supposed to match Vampire Diaries tone, but I don't know if that was just kind of confusion that because Williamson wrote Vampire Diaries. Hopefully it's a little bit darker than Vampire Diaries, but a Dark Universe show. You know, the Victoria Frankenstein whole aspect, the Universal Monsters, of course, getting involved. All that sounds really cool to me. Like I'm in that. I would enjoy that pretty thoroughly. So yeah, let's do it, Kevin. Things that I reviewed this week, watched recently that got posted, and there's definitely more reviews coming. One thing that I watched is Psycho Killer. Listen, this movie is getting a lot of hate, and Twitter is always interesting to me because the movies that genuinely aren't that great, they go through this thing of it's either dog shit and the world hates the things, or people will stand up for them. And it's always been an interesting concept to me as to what gets chosen to do what, you know what I mean? And I think that Psycho Killer is one of those things where the idea is not horrible, but it is like a straight down the middle of the road. Don't think that it's any better or necessarily any worse than anything that we have seen, but I do think that potentially it is something that kind of got lost in itself as it got made, and it felt kind of discombobulated after a while. The other thing that I did read comic book wise, I love the Absolute Batman comic book line, and right now they're working on this weird thing with Poison Ivy, the art, the story of Poison Ivy. They've also started to bring in the Court of Owls, which is gonna be pretty rad. Dude, Poison Ivy, the art that the artist did for this comic book was pretty phenomenal. And Nightmare Fuel, as a lot of the art in Absolute Batman is. And they just continue to keep knocking it out of the park with this story. I like this version of Batman, and I think this version of Batman in 2026 is only going to snowball in popularity. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys for like news and reviews and goings on. We are still very in the thick of filming Ghost Executioners 3, so you can stay tuned for updates, and different clips and shenanigans and all that good stuff. And yeah, man, like right now we actually have a panel from the cast of Ghost Executioners 3 that was recorded just before we started actual production. And so it's a little bit of a time travel thing, particularly for this channel, where we're making the movie right now, and you're gonna hear this thing, and we're gonna be talking about how excited we are, and we're so stoked Anastasia is there, and Raina had a cameo, but it does help you kind of get to know us more and get to know the process that we are doing more and all of that. So without further ado, enjoy this panel featuring the cast Ghost Execution.
To see that you guys stayed for this final panel, because we're going to close out Sinister Halloween Con with a very special panel. This panel is made up of quite a few members of the panel team who are also members of the Horrific Network, a network that was founded and has very humble beginnings, but was founded by Jim Wienholtz, who is our panel director. And Jim has grown his brand, so he is now producing a number of very successful and popular podcasts. He's gotten into film production. He's a very talented writer, does his own screenplays. So the film that we're going to talk about today is Ghost Executioners 3, the most ambitious of the 3 films that are devoted to a very unique brand of Ghostbusters. Ghost Executioners 3 is the latest chapter in the story of a group of paranormal operatives and their ongoing battle with the demonic forces of the Lord Drakic. We have several members of the cast and creative team of this comedy horror trilogy with us today to discuss the new film, and I'm going to introduce them and their roles in the Ghost Executioner series. First of all, we have Jim Wienholtz, the writer, producer, director, and he also plays the role of Tim in the franchise. We have John and Ashley Scott, who are actually a real-life couple that play the ghost-busting couple of Scott and Michelle in the films. We have Chris Estrada, who plays the nefarious role of Theodore, and you'll hopefully we'll get him to laugh for you at least once during the panel. I played the role of Mr. Carpenter, which is a nod. Jim and I are, of course, horror fans from way back, so he did me the honor of naming me after John Carpenter. And I play kind of a person who is in league, shall we say, with Drakic. Also, we have the great, what was your name again? Oh, yeah. This is Andrew Kane, who played Mike in the first two Ghostbusters movies.
Executioners.
Those Executioners movies. And it's late in the day, Jim. Excuse me. And this is his avatar for Ghost Executioners 3. He'll tell you it's not, but it is.
Yeah.
So, Jim, would you please tell us about the genesis of this award-winning Ghost Executioner trilogy, your inspirations, and your visions for the series?
It started with a thesis project from film school, and the task was to make a under 10-minute film. So I actually, during film school, had made a documentary short that was based on John and Ashley's haunted house, celebrating its 10-year anniversary, Higbee Horror Haunt. And so I was used to the style of documentary filmmaking, doing the interviews and laying B-roll over those interviews and kind of compiling over the course of time. And so I'm a huge fan of Ghostbusters, and I'm a huge fan of The Office. And I was like, for my thesis, it would be fun to flip it to a mockumentary style. And I wrote the script, and it was supposed to be under 10, and it ended up being close to 12, but the teacher actually didn't make me trim too much of it down. And after film school, I entered it into festivals and was, I say lucky, but fortunate enough to have it screened all over the world and won some awards. And Estrada there actually was my boss when I was technical directing for the Mariners minor league affiliate. And over the course of getting to know him and some of the guys on that production team that he had built, I thought it was time that maybe we try to go back to those characters and make a follow-up without real-time restrictions. And so last year we made one that was about 44 minutes long that kind of continues the story and introduces characters to it. And that is now doing the festival thing. And so it's just snowballed into what was a idea for the finale, and the finale is going to feature some really cool, movie stars that we all have built relationships with and love, and via feature film. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it really has grown from, from the first film now to, which was a very local project, and now you're thinking about expanding the locations. You included some really interesting cast members who are well known within the industry, and that's going to be a great step up in terms of your development as a director. The festival reception for the first two films has been phenomenal. The second film, Ghost Executioners 2, actually had its world premiere at the historic State Theater in Modesto. And that was quite an occasion, attended by about 300 people, Jim?
Yeah.
Roughly. And so that was a very rewarding experience, I know, especially for Jim and the rest of the cast. But tell us a little bit about the awards that the first two films, especially the second film, have garnered, and what that recognition has meant to you, because every day we, of course, keep in contact on Facebook, and Jim is constantly posting these recognitions that he's getting from film festivals around the world, and it's really, really been a great, great thing to watch.
I mean,
what does that mean to you?
Well, you say I have gotten these recognitions, but it's we have gotten the recognitions. In that thread, I tell them all the time where they'll say congratulations to me, and I try to say no, congratulations to us, because these guys, the thing that we have built here at Sinister, and year round in the stuff that we do, it wouldn't be the same without all of them. So really, you take the awards away, awards are awesome that other people, it's a validation that it's enjoyable, but really it's about what we do together. I am a lot more proud that it has been seen around the world than it's won awards around the world. I take a lot of pride in that, literally around the world, but more than the awards, the fact that it's our world that's getting the recognition.
Yeah. Yeah. And Jim, I've said this before in public. I said it at the world premiere of Ghost Executioners 2. Jim is very generous about sharing his ideas and sharing the involvement in his projects with his friends. So he has really created this family atmosphere that we're all part of, and we're all grateful to him. We've all, and I said this before too, we've all grown in our own ways because of Jim's generosity.
Can I add on
Sure.
that? So I want to add on that because with take your child. With Jimmy as well. Am I even on? No. With Jimmy as well. The other thing is I think the reason why, like, I constantly go in and say, you know, hey, great job, buddy. You did this. Like, be so proud of yourself and take this in, is because it's not the work that he's done. It's the fact that Jimmy has been somewhere in his life and he has pulled all of us from different directions. And if it wasn't for Jimmy being at the core of all of it, we wouldn't be here. With this core group, we wouldn't have ever been here. I mean, Charlie was your fifth grade teacher.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
Andrew
true.
was one of your best friends. You worked with Chris. You met us by coming to our haunt, and then we became a family and started growing into things and doing podcasts with you guys. And because of you and the things and the achievements that you want to do in your life and the things that you have done is what's brought us all together. So ultimately, yes, we all share credit in what we've done and what we put together, but we are very grateful for you, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have this group to have these things and to have these moments.
Very well said. That's absolutely right.
Jumping on that too, if I can. Okay, yeah, this one. Jimmy makes it very easy to say yes when he comes up with crazy ideas for things for us to all do, because we just have so much fun doing it. It's a great group of people. We all get together. We enjoy ourselves. We make fun of each other all the time, and it just makes it really easy to get in on these projects and just enjoy ourselves and just have a good time.
Yeah, that pretty well sums it up. I want to ask a question of everybody, as everybody in the panel. I want you to describe the characters you played in the first two films in the franchise, and what your expectations are for the characters in the third edition, and how has your character developed, or how have you contributed to the development of the characters in the course of the series? So let's start at the opposite end this time. Let's start with Andrew Kane, who played Mike, and his alter ego, Zabbins, is on his
Zabbins will
lap.
be.
You can answer any way you like.
Okay. So it's interesting. So this whole group, Jimmy wrote. Oh, I worked the mouth wrong. So this whole time that we all got together, it's a little distracting. I don't know if I can do it. But yeah, Jimmy kind of wrote this, with this character in mind, which I think it was kind of like his idea of me in his mind, which is kind of like this goofy guy that has a bunch of friends that they're trying to get together, and like hang out, and we're gonna do ghost stuff. And so, the first one, when he came to me with the idea, like me and Jimmy have worked in the past on projects, that where he's like, I've got this, thing that I want to be like 7 minutes. We're like, we're going to make a full length feature film out of it, so it's always just kind of like, can we do this? Like, yeah, we can do it. Like, why not? Like,
Sure.
There's no other reason not to. So Mike's just kind of like this goofy guy that kind of like just really likes hanging out with these people. And then, in the first one, we all come to a close, and then in the second one, it's kind of me taking a little bit of a ego like head to the, thinking that I'm better.
Overzealous.
Yeah, a little overzealous in my character. So it's kind of fun to play that character. And then I disappear for a reason you'll find out in the movie. And then Zappins will be
the new
replacement. Yes. So being replaced by a puppet is probably like my top 10 favorite things that's going to happen in my life. So,
it is the logical conclusion.
It is the logical conclusion
for you, Andrew.
Yeah. So just kind of yeah, and it's just so fun to do all these weird, fun things with all these people. So
Andrew built Zabbins.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's incredible.
literally,
Andrew's a very gifted artist.
he has been with me from the get, and we met Estrada and John and Ashley along the way. But for the longest time, he was like the one that said, "There's no way that we can pull that off." He is the one that would be like, "No, dude, we can't have a car chase down Main Street and have a car blow up. Why don't you try to do this instead?" And so,
safety concerns most of the time. So like reeling that in, and then this character also kind of has a lot of that too going on. He's always trying to make sure everyone's safe.
Chris, tell us.
To a point.
Oh, I'm sorry,
go
Andrew. Were you done?
away.
Cutting you off there. Chris, tell us about Theodore and what went into your development of the character.
Yeah, so I get to play Theodore, who is kind of like, first off, I'm super excited because I kind of am like the bad guy, and I love that. That's so fun to play. I play like the assistant to Murado, but sadly Murado's not here, but I'm like his assistant, and so I was brought on for the second film, Ghost Executioners 2. Like how we were mentioning, I've become friends with Jimmy from working at the baseball team with the Nuts, Modesto Nuts over there. Shout out Nuts because they're not there no more. But just from meeting him there, and I was super excited for him to bring me on to join this because I just have a background of acting from like high school and college too. So even though I got into sports and media and stuff like that, and I'm behind the camera, as if you guys have been here, I was kind of around taking pictures and videos this whole time. But as much as I like doing that, I also love being in front of the camera too. So when Jimmy gave me the opportunity to join in on this film, I was right away. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And so this character, I kind of took inspiration for it because he's like the assistant to like the bad guy. He's kind of like, I got inspiration from the Joker, actually, from the first Batman movie. So I kind of got inspiration from the very first Batman movie with Jack Nicholson, where he has his assistant, Bob, where he acts like an idiot and stuff to him. But then I also got inspiration just from the Joker's laugh, too. So what my character does that everyone loves that I do is...
we all love it.
Everyone loves it how absolutely. I do my laugh, because I'll just clap my hands and I'll just... yeah, I'm just like... everyone just loves how I do that. So I got inspiration kind of from that. Kind of like the Joker, so like I'm a big Batman fan and stuff like that. And so I kind of just developed this character just to be funny and goofy like that. And so, but for the third film coming up, hopefully I get to do more fun stuff like that. And we'll see what happens.
So for me, I play Michelle. And Michelle kind of started out as like the Janine from Ghostbusters. Like she's the receptionist, she's answering the phones. So that kind of was my story. But I start to fall in love with Scott's character. And
a real fantasy there, huh?
Yeah, he's so dreamy. Just can't stand it. And there's a scene where we filmed, and I'm just like googly eyed over him, like the phone's ringing, and I'm just like, like in La La Land. But yeah, and he's like oblivious because he's in it, which is it's us normally, anyways. So, and that's the other thing for me. Going into Michelle was really easy because I just feel like Jimmy took every part of me and just put her into Michelle because she's, head over heels over her husband, and that's everything. Or, I am Michelle. They're not married yet, but at the same time, she's very Janine, and she's like, she'll give you a good riz, like, hey, shut up, or I'll cuss somebody out, or I'll speak in what is my words. Like it's very easy for me to go in and draw inspiration from Michelle because Michelle is me, basically. As far as the future goes, I really hope that Michelle gets to marry Scott in this movie, and it's a big scene, and we waste a whole lot of budget. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I just really
Party
hope that I've grown more into being an executioner with them and fighting off all of this stuff and dealing with Theodora Murato. And I'm just really excited to continue Michelle's journey and see where we go. And hopefully officially I'll get, an official Ghost Executioner shirt one day instead of just being the step-up receptionist that came into it.
So I play Scott, and right out the gate, I remember Jimmy kind of telling me, he's like, your character's kind of brought in by being a mix of Egon and Specs from Insidious. So immediately, basically, the tech guy that's all involved in like the ghost finding equipment and stuff like that. So, I had glasses on, a suit and tie, would walk around with like EMF readers and, like I'm looking for stuff, be suspicious of everything, being a lot more practical of a person on hauntings. And then going into the second one is where we get together, and then you start to see a change in Scott to where now he's being influenced by having, a significant other. So he's almost like partially stepping away from being the geeky paranormal researcher guy and stepping into a different role. So moving forward, I'm really curious because I feel like my character is taking leaps and bounds as we're going. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
You just want to get back straight to the tech part. It's okay. I understand.
I mean, it'll be just like a marriage. You start out one way, then you get comfortable, and then,
So by number 4, we'll be on separate couches. And
Probably, yeah. Won't even realize we're there,
Yeah.
Jim, Tim's playing an increasing role in the films as they go on. You want to tell us a little bit about your character?
Yeah. So I wasn't in the first one because I was trying to finish this thesis project. You'll see if you scan your QR and you watch the movie that there's reference to Tim, and in the second one, kind of knowing sort of where the third one was going to go, spoiler, Tim shows up at some point. So playing Tim is, I guess, the Robert De Niro taxi driver-esque kind of mentality of the group. He's a cinephile, so like everything in the mockumentary part, he's constantly comparing himself and the group to movie characters that are like way above the standard of which they are. The line that I thought was, because I did my confessional scene alone in my garage, just set the camera up and lit it one day, and we were using sound effects to be our producers. So the producer audio was recorded on a separate day, but when I show up, I have the line, I think my return to the team is pretty akin to the emotional level of when Thanos kills Gamora in the Avengers movie. And the producer says, you really think that your return for this project is the same emotional weight as that scene? And I just look off and I'm like, yeah. And just dead face like. And so in the third one, expanding the cast and it being an even number, I kind of have written the third one where the pairs of the good guys, the 6 of them, each kind of have their own angle. And so most of his angle is centered around Zabbins. And that is because I'm just a huge fan of the Muppets, and I wanted my scenes to be with the Muppet. And so I wrote, my idea for that character, the adventure he goes on, is directly tied to Zabs there.
Does this have anything to do with you being a furry lover?
Jesus. I'm going to plead
It's a question that had to be asked, Jim.
I mean, no.
As
no.
Walter would say, bum, bum, bum.
To be revealed in the movie. This is one for This is one for everybody. If you want to take it, you don't have to answer this, but if you want to, just go ahead and take a shot at it. What are the challenges of working on a micro-budget film? Because these films are called micro-budget films because there's not a lot of money. You have to be very improvisational and aware of budgetary concerns. So, Ashley, it looks like you're ready to jump
I'm
in
ready.
there.
So for me, I mean, micro budget, I think the best thing for us to describe this situation is we all have such a love for each other. We're such a close-knit group. And when one of us has an idea, we're all in. Everyone's all in. It doesn't matter what it takes. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do that for that person. So for me, doing this filming, it's like if Jimmy's playing Tim and he's in a scene, but he can't see the camera because he's doing both. Okay, I'm going to step up to the camera. All right, you're not in frame. You know what? Let's back this shot up. Let's do it this way. The lighting's off. Like, we all have jumped in behind camera, helped, edited. Oh, you know what? We should probably reshoot this way because of this. And it's all just been so much fun. All of our banter and laugh up here, that's us all the time. Like, so every cut is usually because we're cracking up because somebody did something or whatever, or we're at somebody's house, or we're using somebody's mom's garage, or we're, like, we are very resourceful in the things that we have, especially with, excuse me, John and I having a haunt. We had a lot of crap just laying around that could help do a lot of that. So for me, it was just more or less that this team loved Jimmy so much and loved our project that we did whatever it took to bring it together. And Jimmy's really resourceful and found a lot of great options as well, and have made this budget on damn near a nearly nothing budget. So that's probably, for me, that's the best part.
Yeah, it's the biggest challenge is the budget itself, because you have the ideas of what you want, and then you go back and you figure out what's feasible. The thing about what we do, which is cool, is we come to events like this. We're based in Modesto, and we do a bunch of local events, movie screening, live shows, stuff like that, and that opens the door to networking. So like Ashley said, the resourcefulness kicks in because you build these relationships and you pitch what you want to do, they're more apt to help you out. So the biggest challenge is making, one camera setup sound or look like a 3-camera setup, and then if something is, how do we light this to make it look like we spent X amount of dollars instead of a couple hundred. And luckily, like she said, the collaboration and the resourcefulness, their expertise has been huge as far as lighting and stuff like that. Doing the outdoor haunt is, and then also the indoor haunt. John and Ashley, their experiences brought a wealth of knowledge. I went to film school and learned a shitload of stuff, but when you have an independent film, part of you goes into teacher mode, especially if someone hasn't been in a movie before, all the way from opening up to the camera to saying it in a certain fashion, like coaching. And whenever someone comes on board that has the experience, that's time that you're saving, not necessarily having to do that, and it makes the day go by fluidly.
Sure.
I think one thing is too is I've never worked on a big, huge budget project, so for me this is just normal working. Having to turn trash into props and make up fake blood and do that kind of stuff. That's, to us, that's normal. That's just how we've made the haunt work. You take low lighting and angle it certain ways, and you can create something really cool and hide things that aren't so great. So you learn all that from the trade that we've done. And so there wasn't, again, it's normal for us. So it's not like a huge challenge.
I think kind of the funny thing is like for the second installment, I was living on the East Coast, so I shot all my stuff kind of by myself, and then Jimmy was through a Zoom screen. So it was like, being directed through a Zoom screen, with the angles and all that stuff. So I have everything set up, and I turn the computer around, like, this good, like this what you want, or I do a bunch of B-roll and stuff of me like working on stuff in the shops. And so just like really having that kind of flexibility, like you don't have a full team to go on site to certain places, and like the ability for this team right here, they're just like yeah, you guys like are expertise in like doing so many different, like John is like a fucking wonder man over there. Like he can do fucking anything. It's crazy. And so like, you know, it's just so great to have like this like full team of people who are like able to do all these different things and are so willing to give their time and their effort into these things. And like it shows, I think, you know, the love that we have for making these things and hanging out together and doing all the fun, like, I don't know, stupid, like a lot of stuff is so stupid, but like, it's like, especially like you're sitting there and you're just like, man, like I feel like it's like an idiot because you're sitting in front of a camera. Jamie's like on a little screen in the corner. And like, I'm just like trying to fucking do these lines. And like, you know, like Jimmy's like, well, hold on a sec. And it was just like, all right, let me get out and turn off this fucking camera.
Yeah, number 2, directing him remotely. That was an interesting thing. In each thing that I do and I write, there's new components. The Muppet for number 3 is a big one, but to not improve, to stay stagnant is not something that I really necessarily wanted to do. So the first one was first time I had ever used, you know, VFX or green screen for anything competition wise, and so learning that and how to do that well was a challenge, but it was worth obviously learning. And the number 2, Andrew living in New York and filming his stuff and directing him through a Skype call, but then slicing that footage with us at home and then directing these guys to be like, okay, Andrew is standing over there, so you guys have your line of sight needs to be towards that angle and that side of the room. That was kind of the thing that was fun to learn in the second one.
Sure.
My last minute addition to that is I think the other thing that's really cool is, you know, we all work really well together and we don't have a lot of BS. Like it's literally, to me, it feels like we're just a bunch of kids that have a dumb camera and we're running around doing dumb stuff and we're just filming it and having a blast. Like, cool, we're making a movie. Cool, we're putting it out there. I love it. But for me, at the end of the day, I get to play with these guys and hang out and do fun, cool, dumb shit and have good laughs because we make such great memories. And then we also get to support somebody's art at the same time. So for me, that's really cool as well.
Sure. Sounds good. Now, Ghost Executioners 3 will be the most ambitious of the 3 films in scope, in budget, and casting. Tell us, Jim, about how this film will expand the Ghost Executioner universe. Well,
the biggest one you said is the cast. I'm sure you guys all know the Elfmans, like Danny Elfman, Richard Elfman, Oingo Boingo, Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice. The list goes on and on. Tim Burton movie, you know, direct link. Well, Richard is also a horror movie director, and he is married now, Anastasia, and she's in a horror film called Bloody Bridget, and she has several other projects lined up. And with that, you know, comes ties to Richard and Danny. And so we announced this summer she was going to be the big antagonist of kind of the whole thing. So that's been really cool, being a lifelong Burton fan and a lifelong Elfman fan, to be able to work with them is really rad. But we also have cannibal comedian director Sean Heights. He's going to have a cameo. Miss Misery, that was here this weekend, she's a frequent guest of Sinister, is going to have a cameo. And Fred Weehy's also here, cameo. So just taking it to that level of, like you said, of evolution has been really cool. The story, once you watch the first 2, going into the third, I feel like it puts a really good bow on it. And you know, the whole thing that with horror stuff, there's always like this subtextual thing underneath, you know, Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead is consumerism and stuff. And the underline to all the jokes and everything, the story kind of came from how independent horror now is thriving, but for a really long time felt like it was really being held down by major markets and major studios, and stepchild, and so the network that was producing the Ghost Executioners in the franchise, it's kind of like the Empire in Star Wars, and Anastasia's the Empress of all of that, and it's been a fun thing to write.
Yeah, absolutely. The first two films are filled with Easter eggs for horror fans. As I mentioned before, my character's name is Mr. Carpenter. Jim knows what a Halloween fan I am, and of course, I'm named after John Carpenter. But there are other things in the films as well that are little tips of the hat to the films and the characters that we love from the great films in the horror genre. What might viewers expect in terms of hidden treats in Ghost Executioners 3? Or do you want to even talk about it? Do you want them to find it?
Man, that is a good question. I wouldn't say necessarily more as much as it's a feature film, so there's obviously more there, but there's not a ton other than Tim's like annoying contextual, oh, it's kind of like, oh, and Michelle's like, just shut up. Yeah, no, I wanted the third one to be more us.
Oh, okay.
So we're not, it's definitely there. There's references there. They have blasters and all of that, but it's more about us than it is us necessarily leaning on other people's stuff.
Okay, that's an interesting answer. There's going to be much more location shooting in Ghost Executioners 3. What are some of the places that you're actually going to shoot? And is that prompted by the availability of cast members, or how are you going to choose the locations? And what problems might that present?
Is Vegas on the list?
I mean, we could. Oh, there's always room for Vegas.
Let's do Vegas.
The second question, the answer is yes.
I forgot what the second question was.
Does the location depend on the availability?
Right. Okay.
So
right.
yeah, definitely. With Anastasia coming on board, she takes a human form, and then you can see in the poster she's kind of like mid-transformation there. So monster form and human form. Her human stuff, we're going to L.A. to shoot. The monster stuff, we're actually flying her to Sacramento to shoot. So, that definitely is a factor. The other factor is just finding cool places that are within our means and look cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, we shot a sequence with John and Ashley and a couple other executioner members that aren't here that was in this cemetery in the second one, and that was a fun day, and I like how it came out a lot. So it's all about, it goes back to the resourcefulness, man, like what's available and what looks the best.
Sure. When will shooting begin, and what is your projected premiere date?
Next month in October of 26.
Oh, okay. Good. How long a shooting schedule do you think it's going to be? I mean, how many months will you be working on it, doing the actual shooting of the film?
When you're making an indie project, that's a tough question because it could be like 7 days of shooting over the course of 3.5, 4 months. It just depends. Because our budget, literally, like these guys, they talk about how much they love me and they love our stuff, which is heartwarming, soul-warming to hear them say it out loud. But our work salary, which we're actually raising funds this time around to hopefully have some, but it's usually pizza and beer and like come over and hang out and we'll do this and here's some gas money because I know you're driving to. We filmed out in the country for a good section of this one, and that was a drive for some people. So we help out as much as we can, but it is about just coming together and
Sure.
doing what we can within those means.
Right. And it all comes down to that, our group.
Yeah.
Right? All
I
supporting
think even
each
if there
other.
was a budget for us to get paid, we would all do it for free because
Yeah.
of our love for you and what our group has.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's just us being together that makes it so that we can just film it. Like, I know we all love money and we all need it to survive. And yeah, more pizza, more beer. Like, let's all go get an Airbnb and have a good weekend. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we're all about.
We're all pretty cheap dates.
From the back of the room.
Are you planning a local theater premiere like the one that was at the State Theater in Modesto for Ghost Executioners 3?
Yeah, we're going to try to do two. We're going to do the Modesto State Theater will be like the world premiere. But I am looking at, Sean, Cannibal Comedian, Area 5150 director, has a film festival in LA that he's actually hosting this weekend.
It's in Fillmore.
Yeah, and he's got, some ends on theaters down there, so I'm hoping, especially with people who live down there being in this one, that we'll be able to do a LA area one as well.
Okay. All right. What is the running time? What's the proposed running time? You said feature film, so I'm thinking, what, isn't that at least an hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah,
or?
the script's a little over 100 pages, so
Yeah, so that,
the shooting schedule, if we did it all consecutively, I would say probably 2 weeks. So, that's a good amount of footage. So after
Right.
the edit, somewhere between 80 to 90.
yeah, yeah. Which opens up a whole market in terms of,
Sure, yeah.
in terms of where you can sell it or have it shown.
Yeah.
Ghost Executioners 3 will introduce a number of new characters. How will that affect the plot of the new film as far as the direction it's going to go?
Direction, that's the challenge, is working with professionals that are above my pay grade and getting to direct them and gain experience with working with them. As far as how they'll interact with these guys, you'll have to watch the movie.
Yeah. What do you think is going to be the most challenging part? This, could be a question for the entire cast.
Zabin's ego.
Well, that goes without saying. What do you think is going to be the most challenging part of filming?
Timelines, I guess. I don't know. I feel like,
Timelines?
I feel like getting us all together, which we're usually pretty good at, but I think, getting us all in the same
Just
room
making
together.
sure that the people that are involved are
Yeah,
all
I mean, because like we all
available.
have day
Yeah,
jobs.
that's
so,
true.
Yeah, it's like it's always working, after hours or
Sure.
weekends and stuff like that. So,
Sure.
taking little family vacations together and having fun.
Anybody else care to answer that one?
Yeah, I think I'll go off
Chris?
of what he was saying too, kind of like timelines on like when we get to meet up, and I think
Yeah.
because we might not get to meet up at many times, depending on what everyone's availability is, probably like how much can you get done in that 1 day or 2 days that you're together. I think that will
Exactly.
be really huge
Yes.
on that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that.
I will
Ash?
say, though, that Jimmy's pretty good with timelines. Like, if anything, being that he's the producer, director, filmmaker behind all of this and doing a lot of this work, it's more he's accommodating to us. Like, if we can sit down and film, our green screen stuff on 1 day, but not everybody else can do it, we'll go to his house for an hour. And then the next night, he'll have somebody else. And then 2 days later, he's got somebody driving in and coming in and doing it. And then it's like, okay, I need these 4 people together. What date can you get together? Okay, we all agreed upon this date, but I can only be there from this time to this time. Okay, well, we need to shoot this and this and this. So as far as like our timeline goes, Jimmy does pretty good about making it work for us, but now we're adding in so much more. So timeline will definitely be a thing, but I think Jimmy has a pretty good grasp on that for us.
I think for me, it'll be to read the actual script on this one.
Instead of just
I was
before the scene is
I was
shot.
notorious for Ghost Executioners 2 to have not read the script and basically have Jimmy help feed me the lines for the scenes, which, all in all, it made it really interesting to go to the premiere for the second movie because I didn't know anything else going on with this film, so it made it really cool. It made it a surprise for me. So, yeah, I'll try my best to make sure to read the script for
Thank
3.
you. Thank you.
All right. Jim, is there going to be a Ghost Executioners 4, or is this the final chapter?
This is it.
This is it. Okay.
There's other things that I would like to try down the road, especially depending on where this one, how it does. But there's other stories that I would like to tell, and I feel like this one is a good end.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to end this period of our panel with this last question. I'd like each of you to tell our audience why you think they should make it an effort to watch the Ghost Executioner series and to come out or look for Ghost Executioners 3 when it does have its premiere.
Yeah, I would like to say, just support local indie filmmakers. I mean, I think most of us grew up in the Central Valley. We've all, been around each other. I mean, me and Jimmy went to high school together. We go way back. And just kind of support, people, getting together. And, because, doing these things, it's not all fun. But, man, it's, seeing your name on the big screen and stuff like that and these things that, you dream about when we were kids, it's just one of those things that just makes, us feel really good, and it just kind of to inspire other local filmmakers. If we did this, really anyone can. It's crazy to think that Jimmy, he just comes up with these ideas, and we just kind of bullshit back and forth a little bit, and then it's we're making this now. Oh, okay, I guess we'll go hop into character, do these weird things for you, and then it all pops out to this really, just fun, narrative that just comes out of the soul of just these people who do everyday things and do these extraordinary things on the side, and just supporting that is why I would recommend go looking for it and all that stuff.
Supporting local artists.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely, especially because all of us here kind of have come from different backgrounds, kind of different jobs and stuff like that, and then the fact that we just come together to just make a film like this, and showing how much, we might not know much of what we're doing, but we're still doing it and having fun. And then every time, with the first film to the second film, now with this third film, I just joined this for the second film, and I remember when Jimmy showed me to watch the first film, and I was like, oh, okay, this is all right. I'm ready for the second one. I'm like, all right, this is just gonna be fun then, and it was a really cool experience. And then to see actually how the film came out for the second one was a big difference from the very first one. I was like, okay, now this is actually something pretty cool.
Right.
And then especially with the announcement of this third one, and then when Jimmy, as he was talking about all the advancements that we got going on, now we might go to different locations for filming, the cast that is here now. I think what's really cool is how this project has really grown to what it is now. So I think would be really cool to just come out and support it and even check it out, as Jimmy was saying, on those little QR codes right there. You got the first 2 movies right there for you.
Ash?
I think that people need to come out and support us because we do so much to support everybody else besides outside of just our group. We're constantly going to indie haunts, indie, conventions, startups, all these different things, and supporting artists, helping out locally, getting involved in those things, coming to Sinister and getting involved with everybody here and seeing what people are doing here. And it's really, back to your topic of us all being in different backgrounds, all of us being in different backgrounds brings such a uniqueness to our group because we have all found our strength and what helps build us. And that core part of that is that we're always each other's biggest fan to help support each other, but as a group, we can go support everybody else. And so, you know, I think that with as much as we do and give of our time and share, you know, I would hope that people would want to share and give that time back to us for the things that we do as well. And community, I mean,
Yeah.
we all wouldn't be where we would be if we didn't have a life story and a way that we walk.
Right.
So we're all community. We all bring something, whether it's a different opinion or a different value. You can still bring it to the table and help make something great and
Right.
and inspire others. Like, we got to inspire other people to do
Exactly.
things. And, you know, I mean, I never in a million years would have ever thought that I would have been in a film, like, of any type. And then you meet Jimmy, and he's got these great ideas and does all these things, and next thing you know, we're in a movie. Like, it just, we've done haunted houses, and, you know, like, ironically enough, we kind of met Chris before we really met Chris, and it kind of came full circle for us. But it was really cool because we met him because he was talented at what he was doing as his job, getting footage and stuff like that, and we were the haunt that was there. And Chris made us an amazing video, and then we found out, and then it was kind of a separation after that, and then it was like, boom, Jimmy brought him back full circle, and here we are again. Well, Chris's talent brought us something, and we brought it back, and now we're all together. So I think that that's the other great thing, too.
Sure.
Well, geez, that was some deep answers right there.
Well, we know you're all about the tech stuff.
I say
Gadgets.
see the films because they're good, funny films, and they're highly entertaining. You're going to
Yeah.
enjoy yourselves watching them. And I think they give you something to kind of want to crave more of what we did, because all of our antics and everything, like, you're going to want more. And so that's what's so great with the third one coming out, is hopefully this will be the big payoff and you get what you need.
Right.
Yeah, it's really just everything that they said with a cherry on top of fun. Hopefully you have fun watching it. We had fun making it. And, you know, the kind of people we are, if you like his show, I apologize. But our channel had an experience with Zach Baggins that was not very favorable. And so Zabbins is named after Zach Baggins. Zach Baggins.
And not in a complimentary
and
way.
It's yeah, you know, his snarky attitude and everything, and you know, we just joke and we have fun. And I think that when you're with people that are more like a family than cast and crew necessarily, the fun comes through the screen. It happens on $1 million movies, and it happens in independent movies. Like, you can tell when they're having fun making it, you're going to have fun watching it. So we have fun making it. Hopefully you have fun watching it.
And I would just add to what everybody said, that if you're a horror fan, think about the history of horror. And think about these really significant landmark films like Carnival of Souls or Night of the Living Dead or the Evil Dead films. Those films started in exactly the same way. A young filmmaker with a vision, a group of friends who are willing to sacrifice their time and efforts to produce something that's truly memorable. So that would be the reason I would suggest to go see it, because you may be seeing the beginning of something that's truly going to make an impact. So anyway, we've reached the end of our panel. I'd like to thank everybody who stuck around. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate it.
If you didn't get a free copy of the first two movies from me before, please come up here and I will give you a free copy of the first two movies.
And may I introduce the cast of The Ghost Executioners 3.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate you.
All right, man. I hope you enjoyed that panel. Charlie did a great job moderating. He's also in Ghost Executioners, of course. And that took place at Sinister Halloween Con, part of the Love Horror Sinister Creature Con programming. You can get your tickets right now at sinistercreaturecon.com for June. Should have thrown that in the beginning. Will on the next time that we record, man. So anyway, stay tuned for more from us, and I thank you for listening or watching. Stay spooky, everybody.